Good morning and welcome to the Battle Within. We're continuing our study in Hebrews chapter 13, which is the last chapter of Hebrews. So we're kind of winding this whole book down. It's been a great study over several months, I think. But we're going to be here in chapter 13, verses 14 through 17. So for here, he says, "For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the Spirit, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifice God is well pleased. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they might do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you." So if we just back up a moment to verse 13, that he says, "Let us go therefore to him without the camp, bearing his reproach." Then verse 14, he carries on and says, "For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come." He said we're outside the camp. We're outside the religious organizations. Here, the world around us, we're outside the world around us. We're looking for a city and it's not here. He says, "Let us go forth unto," he says, "For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come." God is coming back. The kingdom is coming back. The city is coming back. God is going to establish his kingdom. We know that for sure. His word is true. The writer here said you can count on it. We're seeking for that city. We should always be seeking for that city. But it's to come. It's not here. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. He says in verse 15, "By him therefore let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name." He says, okay, we know that the city is coming. Therefore, we know it's not here. We know it's coming. He says, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God. We're praising for what? For the city to come. It's not here yet, but we know it's coming. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. We know that. We're hoping for it. He says, by him, therefore, let us sacrifice the praise of God continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. Fruit bearing. James says, show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. Then he says, faith without works is dead. Guess what? The works of the lips, praising God, is a work. He said, I can't do anything work for God. Can you praise God? Can you praise God for the things that he's done? That's good work. That's good work. That's fruit. You're bearing fruit when you're praising God. That's what he says here. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. Verse 16. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifice, God is well pleased. So what does he say? But to do good and to communicate, forget not. To do good to people and to tell people about the good news. That's what he's saying. To do good. You know, there was a famous preacher, Dr. Bob Jones Sr. Dr. Bob Jones Sr. had a little adage he said all the time. He said, do good. Even if the stars fall, do good. Isn't that simple? But isn't that so true? That's what he says here. But to do good and communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifice, God is well pleased. God is pleased by us sacrificing, doing doing good in place of evil, communicating good things instead of bad things. That's what he says. Then he says in verse 17, obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they might do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. They're talking about people who are ruling over you in the word of the Lord. That's like pastors. I'm a pastor of a church now. I have people that I oversee. I oversee them spiritually speaking. They're my flock. They're my people. They're God's people, but God's given me the ability to shepherd them. But he says here, obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give an account. See, we as pastors must give an account to God for your souls. And he says, as they must give an account, that they might do it with joy and not with grief. For what